Hello. Hi, everybody. Okay, there we go. Hi, everybody. My name is Clara. I am the co founder of List Perfectly. And today you're joining me for an incredible session in which we're going to be talking about reseller burnout and stress awareness. So I can't wait to talk about this incredible topic, but I'm not doing this by myself because I am joined by Starr Bryson. Thank you, Starr. How are you?
Hi,
Welcome, Starr.
I'm doing really good. Clara, how are you?
Good. Happy to have you here. What an interesting topic today. And I'm excited. And, beautiful audience, thank you for joining us. And first of all, happy Easter, Starr.
Yes, happy Easter. Gosh, I can't believe it's already halfway through April.
This is incredible. Time is flying. Time is flying, and so important. I'm so happy to to have you here with us because we did such an incredible episode about mental health. And you know that this last Wednesday on April 18th was a National Stress Awareness Day. So I'm very excited because have you ever felt completely overwhelmed by your reselling business? Well, you're not alone, all right? So, just want to give you, some with Starr Bryson. We are both experienced resellers. In my case, I've been selling full time 14 years. And then from there, I did part time. And then I became a hobby reseller because I'm the co founder of List Perfectly. I understand completely. In my case, all right, for me, the biggest burnout and the stressful situation that I had as a reseller Starr is when I was switching business from reseller to List Perfectly, and I was up to $200,000 and
Mhm.
down $1,500 in savings. That was it, guys. Only Amanda could afford to get to eBay Open. Back in 2019, eBay Open was $500 to get in. So thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you. Thank you. So it was very intense for me. It was literally, I was sleeping 3 hours a night. I was listing like approximately 8 hours, and I have to give another 8 hours to list perfectly. And that was the hardest thing in particular for me. So Amanda literally was the only one that could afford to get to eBay
Mhm.
Open in 2019. I stayed on the front door, and that's how I met Starr Bryson.
I was going to say that's when I met you guys back in 2019.
Yes, so welcome, Starr. Incredible early adopter. Just as you know, Starr Bryson's FlippinHippos has been with List Perfectly and believing in our community since the beginning, 2019. So, Starr, why don't you give us an introduction about yourself to our amazing audience, please?
Sure. So I am one half, I'm 75%. So, Clara, you may not know, and the listeners here may not know because I did the announcement on my YouTube.
Yeah.
He was offered an accounting job.
No way.
Can pay without an accounting degree, and so he took it.
Yeah,
Um, my voice is low.
I
Let
can
me
hear you fine.
let me pull my microphone just a little bit
All
closer.
right.
So,
Perfect.
my
Can you
partner.
hear? Oh, yeah, you're making me think about my microphone.
Oh, you're good.
Okay, can you guys hear us? Okay, let's see. Oh,
Hello.
we're saying, oh, stars. Okay. How? Okay, okay, okay. All right. Can you hear? Okay, thank you. Thank you, Trish.
Okay, so my she says okay. I guess I'm okay.
Yep,
Um,
you're great.
okay, my partner started the eBay business for himself, and he was building it up to leave a toxic job. I became hurt at work. I was a healthcare caregiver, like I took care of people. I
Yeah,
hurt my back and I could no longer work outside of the home. So I took over the business and I did it alone for 3 years. And then right before the shutdown during COVID, he
yeah,
had given his 2 weeks notice and he would have got laid off anyway. So we just did this full time together for
yeah,
about 4.5, 5 years. I have to tell you, he liked the freedom of being his own boss and working from home, but thrifting and germs and stuff was never really for Keith. What he
yeah,
enjoyed the most was the computer. IT side of it, doing the spreadsheets, doing our taxes, and doing the accounting. So when this job opportunity came up, he said he wanted to take it, but he would still help me with shipping. And I said, as long as I have help with shipping because of my back, I'm good. I think I can handle the business. But I have to tell you this, and this is not just because you're here. Without Liz Perfectly, I could not continue to run it's basically a 2-person full-time business. We have over 5,000 active listings.
Right.
I could not do this without Liz Perfectly. It's like having an extra employee. So I have a shipper still, and then Liz Perfectly is my lister, and I just take the photos and do the social media.
Yeah.
So, and I mostly sell jeans, plush, and jewelry, but I'm still running Keith's side of things on his eBay store and doing his electronics, comics, video games, and stuff like that.
Oh, wait, I didn't know. So Keith has his eBay store and you have yours?
He's had his own eBay store since I became a public figure, so to speak, on YouTube. We thought it would be wise to have a private one just in case.
Right.
And he sells a lot of stuff that he didn't want on my YouTube and people figuring out where we're at on Amazon and stuff like that. So yeah.
No, that's a unique. The reason I love doing a beautiful audience this live with Starr is because we were both diagnosed disability, and for me was not an option. For us, it's not an option to just stay, collect a paycheck, and just feel pity about ourselves. So e-commerce literally saved us. So those of you, whether you have temporarily or permanent disability, e-commerce comes to your rescue because you're your own boss. You can work at your own pace. When you're in pain, you take the breaks that you need when you need. You need to take a rest. You do it when you need it. So I just want to make sure that you're not alone, all right? And if you feel also that you have a full or part-time job and you're reselling on the side, I highly recommend it again. Reselling, it's an incredible gateway to find your own path and your own timing. And most important, trying to prevent burnout and explore a new way. But reselling, it's not everything that they make you feel like, oh gosh, I invested $20 and now I'm getting $200. So it's not glorious. It's not everything easy. Sometimes like we see it in content. So it has its challenges. So one of the most important thing, okay, there are warning signs, okay, about getting burned out and stress. One of the things that I found myself, Starr, that was the most stressful for me was keeping listing consistently. And then on holidays, for me, the high season was like around 4th of July and obviously Christmas, Hanukkah, and obviously those holidays created such a shipping. And everybody wants, but I'm not sure, I haven't done shipping in a long time, Starr, help me out here, but everybody wants it like yesterday and they pay expedited and they want it like next day delivery. And I'm like, that's not expedited, it's not next day delivery. So, it's like, so that for me was one of the things that made it very, very stressful in my case. What would you say in Q4, right? But what would you say for you was something that you find very stressful, for example, that challenge?
I can honestly tell you I don't really have a lot of stress because of the way I manage my life. I actually get excited during Q4 when I feel overwhelmed. I feel overwhelmed, but never stressed.
Yeah.
Because I know when we have that much to ship, when that many people are shopping, we're making money to put back in our savings. We're making money to put towards taxes.
Yeah.
Because let me tell you, they took a chunk this week. Woo! But I'm poor this week. I had to buy eggs and pay my taxes.
Yep.
But I don't really have a lot of stress, and I can tell you why I don't. I was diagnosed with OCD and anxiety in high school. And a couple of times in my 20s and my 30s, I was medicated, but I couldn't function on the medication. It made me feel like a zombie, made me feel like not real. And this is back when my kids were little, so I couldn't handle it. Yeah. So I went to a therapist and I said, I can't live with my anxiety, but I can't live on the medication. So you have got to teach me coping mechanisms and things that I can do.
Yeah.
And one of those is having routines. And people in the chat that know me from listing parties know that my routines are very strict and my time management is very good. And that is how I manage stress and anxiety. I know always first I do this and then I do this, and this is what's going to come next. And there's never any surprises. And
Right.
so one of the ways I manage that helps the OCD because I'm in control,
Yeah.
and it helps the anxiety because I always know it's going to happen. And if
Right.
something's going to be slightly different from week to week, I keep a written planner so I know ahead of time, and I can
Oh,
prepare myself that this is going to be different than last week. So I just have found ways to manage and cope without medication and without going crazy and being on Dateline.
yeah, no, I admit it. I am medicated for anxiety and I love it. I couldn't, it's challenging. It was very challenging for me to run a reselling business and then run a software company. That you would say is that when it became a very big challenge for me. But I have to tell you, how does maybe from your angle, but for me, one of the biggest things, and you guys might wonder, why marketplaces always make those changes on October. They make policy changes, they make technology changes, literally right before our Q4. And that was one of the things. I don't know if you remember when there was a sales limit in eBay, on the amount that you could have listed and relisted.
Yep,
It was
yep.
it was one of the things that I have to appeal. By the time I won, Q4 was done. So I will never forget the stress that I felt on putting my eggs in one basket, and that did not work for me. So still nowadays you may wonder why marketplaces do this right before Q4. Is because they have to prevent fraud and scam. It's a big problem for marketplaces, and that's why they implement big changes. So buckle up, just make sure you take for granted that marketplaces will make their tech changes and they will make their policy changes on Q3. That's a given. That's a given. And that was one of the things that was most challenging for me, Starr. How do you prepare for those policy changes and the tech changes that marketplaces do?
It helps when they give you notice, which they don't always do.
Oh,
Macari and Poshmark are notorious.
partner and they don't give us no, or they give us. I love it when they give me a notice. We're gonna be change everything tomorrow.
Yeah, if it helps if I have notice because it's just like with planning. I don't like things to be different and I don't like change, but if I know it's coming, I can prepare myself.
Yeah.
And so I think eBay gives us more notice than other platforms. But I just tell myself this is
Yeah.
beyond my control.
Yep.
This is not something that's in my control. There are a lot of things in this business that are within our control, but there are a lot of things that aren't. And it's kind of like the AA motto, accept the things you cannot change. And so I just have to tell myself that I want to sell on these platforms. I want to play in their sandbox. And
Yeah.
so I have to play by their rules. And when they change their rules, then I have to figure out a way to make it work.
Right.
And
Right.
a lot of times List Perfectly helps with that, honestly.
Absolutely.
The new clothing categories they did on us a couple months ago.
Oh.
Yeah, that was a whole mess, but I had weeks to prepare. I had weeks to get my catalog ready, and I was ready for it. So,
Yep. And we were ready as a company. Now, let me ask you a question. I'm going to talk about another stressor. Come on, listeners. Okay, I'm going to talk about Starr. Help me out. How do you do with I just bought the phone and you told me it was black, but it's actually midnight black. I want to return it. It's not what you listed. How do you deal with that? How does it work for you, even though that you like routine? So two things that get us out of the routine and the safety of our environment. How do you deal with, for example, returns in when those tech changes and policy changes affect your routine? How do you do it, Starr?
well, returns, I we're
Uh-huh.
high volume sellers and we have free returns. So they're
Uh-huh.
just a natural part of our business.
There you go.
I have canned responses that I have on the computer and the phone saved. So I
Yeah.
don't interact with buyers. I don't argue with buyers. I
Yeah.
don't engage with them. I literally copy and paste. Sorry if you're not
How,
satisfied. The offer returns. Please return it.
yep. That's
And that's
it.
all I'll say to them. I don't argue. I don't engage. I don't allow emotions in my business. I don't think they have a place in business. I think people get too upset about a lot of things. If you are selling, you are accepting returns. And if you think you're not accepting returns, now you're just opening yourself up to a lot of problems.
I so want to talk about that because I do find don't haven't you noticed that resellers that don't offer returns out of fear, they're so stressed out when they get a return and it's not worth it. I don't know. That's just a perspective that I have, Star.
Yeah, me too. I mean, Tommy just said, black is black, return denied. And I'm like, no, I'll take the return because they'll open a free return for I didn't like it or whatever. And I'm avoiding getting defects on my account. I'm keeping my account health.
Yep.
And I can sell it again. And maybe this time I won't put black in there. Maybe this time I'll just let the pictures speak for themselves. But um, I I don't ever want to do anything that puts my account at risk. And I also know as a buyer, there's times when I need to return items too.
Yep.
And I don't, I see someone saying contesting returns takes up my time. That is very true. But so does arguing with buyers and so does engaging with buyers. 9 times out of 10, honestly, when I send that canned response, I never hear from them again. They never open up return and I never, knock on wood, get the
Yep.
item back. They're
I
looking
agree.
for a partial return. They're fishing for something for
Yes.
free or partial money back. And sometimes they're just looking for an argument. Don't give it to them.
Yep.
You're in a business. You're not on Facebook arguing with strangers. This is a
Yeah.
business.
Yeah. No, I love what you're saying. And as much as I understand, our first instinct is to say, hey, I did a perfect listing. Black is black, okay? No, deny. But like you said, just accept that return. And then even if they win, you can appeal it. People appeal those returns, okay? You can appeal anytime, like have those answers. I love your strategy, Starr, because you have those can answers, okay, that
Mhm.
apply. Okay, there's not one answer to everybody, but she has multiple different templates of answers that she can select depending on the type of return that they're claiming.
Mhm.
Trish is saying the point is the return issue is a Pandora box. Sellers need to just understand it's part of business.
Yep.
Absolutely. As much as I don't like saying that, but yes, I think it's more stressful and detrimental for your reselling business not accepting returns, that accepting returns, then just not discuss arguing with the buyers, and then just let them return. And then once you have it back, you're like, here's a picture of it. It is black, okay? So, because I even had people putting like, when they put the fluorescent light so they can change the color. Oh, I had all the tricks done on me in order to get those returns. It's just,
Unfortunately, there's dishonest people out there, but eBay does also offer us the ability to only refund 50%. So if
yeah.
somebody returns something dishonestly, you can always refund 50%. And if you charge shipping, you can keep your original shipping.
Yeah.
So there are ways to recomp your business without arguing with the buyer.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. So I think one of the healthier things we can do as resellers, and I need you guys to do this on the other, establishing boundaries. And like Starr was showing you in the beginning, she has like a planner to establish her boundaries, her schedule, and that consistency absolutely is something that brings, let's say, tranquility when we're going through those challenges. Okay. I'm like, what is it? As resellers, I'm rich. No, I'm not selling anything. I'm rich. So, it's that consistency on listing, on customer service. And I think that the fact, okay, I love what you said, Starr, that you have it on your phone and you have it on your laptop, because the fastest you reply to any customer concerns,
Mhm.
the more you're going to have the marketplaces on your side.
I
And
even have a canned response that I send out Friday evening through Sunday evening. On
Oh,
my phone, I send one that says, "Hello, thank you for your interest in this item. We are out of the warehouse for the weekend, but I will get back to you Monday morning." That way, I'm immediately sending a message. The buyer knows I'm interested in their business, but they also recognize that I have boundaries and I don't work on the weekends.
yeah. No, absolutely. But well done. There you have it, audience. This is really pro. Thank you, Star, again. So let's go, real quick. Okay. Very important. Okay. Whether taking breaks, all right, establishing a routine. Some people have, for example, today I want to list 5 listings, 10 listings, 40 listings, 50 listings. I used to do it by listings. I never did, like, I knew that back in the day, my optimized listings would take me, okay, like around 8 minutes, okay, and that was with list clothing, okay. So that's literally, I knew that I have to do minimum 10 listings a day. That was my number. And I knew, okay, that would take me between shipping and listing, that would be at least 4 hours. And I was moving fast. Yes, thank you, Bailey. Those boundaries are like, set up those boundaries. Make sure you are like, okay, this is time to go to bed. This is time to take a break. This is lunchtime. This is dinner time. This is me time. Take time for those of you parents, okay? And those of you having a full-time or part-time job and reselling, okay? Set up those boundaries, right, Starr?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up because I have some notes here that I brought with me, and that's something I really wanted to touch upon.
Yeah.
I, on my YouTube channel, talk a lot about work-life balance. And in order to have a healthy mental approach to all of your relationships, to yourself and to your business, you need to find that balance. And boundaries is that way. And you need physical boundaries. This is
Right.
something I really want to talk about. It's so important. If you have room in your home to have an entire home office, that's great. But if you don't, set up a corner of your living room, set up a corner of your dining room. But you need a specific physical space in your home that is for work and for work only, so that when you're not at work, you can go enjoy your video games, your books, your movies, whatever you do for fun. And when you're at work, you're at work. You definitely need that physical demarcation. But you
Yeah.
also need time and schedule. Like Claire was saying, this is when I take lunch. Don't bring your lunch up to your office and eat while you work. Take a half an hour, go eat, be on the moment with your food, go for a walk, get some fresh air, have a time that you start and stop work. It doesn't have to be a full 8 hours. If you have kids,
Right.
you can put your kids on the bus, work, get your kids off the bus, do
Yeah.
your kids, and then have work time in the evening. But you
That's right.
need set times that you're not working and you're doing other things with yourself, your family, your friends, and your pets.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was sharing your channel, Star, your YouTube channel as well. She has Instagram and she also has a Facebook group that you're welcome to join. But definitely what you were sharing is so important. I'm glad that you expressed that with our audience. Crystal says, yes, thank you, Mr. Sanchez. He says, mental health is mental health. Thank you, Mr. Sanchez. I'm going home early today and taking a nap. I think that counts as balance. Yes, yes, and yes. Sleeping is the time that your body takes to, especially guys, all of you, you know that I have scoliosis. My back is an S, so I'm literally, my vertebrae are pinching, and that creates, okay, a nerve system. My nerve system creates a lot of pain. So sleeping, you can do medicine, but nothing like sleeping. Make sure you get your sleeping rest, 6 to 8 hours. Some people need 6 hours. That's when I was younger. Now I need 8 hours, but that's just, I think that's crucial what Crystal is saying. And literally, I feel it, Star. I don't do my hours of sleep and I feel it during the day. I feel it, and I don't want to do more medicine. That the solution's not on doing more pills. The solution is on adapting your lifestyle, your diet, what you eat. And when I say diet, it's not about, being more fit or anything. It's about nurturing yourself. It's about being healthy. And I think that that's crucial. Sleep and the diet, because as resellers, I remember start sourcing I had to do at least, I had to do the clothing bomb and literally by myself for a year. And that was 2 years actually. That was so hard, Starr. That was so hard to go sourcing. I could leave Phoenix at 3 a.m., Starr. Then I would arrive to Los Angeles at 7 a.m. I would do my sourcing until 2 p.m. Then I would have lunch until 3. And then from 3, I would start driving all the way back to Phoenix, arrive like around 10, 11 p.m. Amanda was waiting for me. I would be exhausted. I did that for 2 years. And I remember being so tired on the road that my biggest advice to those of you that you're sole entrepreneurs and you're doing, if you find yourself tired, I would literally stop in a safe place and wait for a little, relax, maybe if it is in 20 minutes, take a little cat nap where I was safe, because it was me with the car loaded. Literally, I was like, even right next, I only have room for the shift stick, to just move it, okay? But the car was loaded with inventory. So that's something that I did so well. I would take breaks on the road and never make sure I was driving tired. Someone that did sourcing, and I went so much, Los Angeles for me was incredible for sourcing. But how do you deal, Starr, with those seasons in which sourcing becomes a little worrisome or stressful? How do you deal with that?
I don't. We order everything delivered to the house nowadays. So I order 99% of everything for my store and his, bulk, wholesale. It comes to the door. Keith carries it up here for me. I only go to the thrift store once a month, and I run my local eBay meetup chapter here, and we go thrifting once a month. But I'm only selecting a few items here and there. I mostly just go to socialize and help other people source, because I have plenty here. I do buyouts of other resellers. I buy wholesale. I've created a business that works for me and my disability, and now I have to work around Keith not being home during the day. So I'm glad that we had made that switch to wholesale at this point.
Yeah. No, nice. So Tammy is saying right now, I listen to subliminals and chakra sounds to help with anxiety, depression, and balance. People, if you don't believe in this, it does work. I use an application that is called Calm, all right? Literally, I kid you not. Okay, here it is. Take a deep breath, all right? And it's just, look, you even have it there with the cricket sounds, okay? It's just, and you can play different things. I highly recommend it. For me, it was such a great thing to do, to listen to relaxing sounds that would bring me. Susan Denise says, I love Calm. Yes, Calm. It's something, guys. No, I don't get paid for this, but definitely, yes. Oh, that's so true, Starr. You need vitamin D, open curtains, and oh my.
There's a reason why we feel better in the spring and summer than we do in the fall and winter.
Because sorry to that. I have to. And Amanda doesn't. Amanda can work it. I always say, Amanda, you look like a hacker. For the love of Christ, turn on the light. Okay. You look like a hacker. Get out, do something, And it's like, no. And I'm like, I have to be like you. I have to take my breaks, go look at the sunlight, take a walk. And then, otherwise my eyes get tired from just looking at the screen all day.
I need sunshine, and I have animals out back, rabbits, birds, chipmunks, squirrels, deer. I feed them all, and it's like the highlight of my day. After lunch, I step outside, I get fresh air, sunshine, I can see the animals. Everyone needs something like that, whatever that looks like for you. But you need a break in the middle of your day to like recenter, rebalance. And it's not about losing weight or being fit. It's about moving your body. You cannot sit here for 10 hours hunched over a keyboard. You're going to get hunched back and a bad neck and everything else. You need to get up and stretch. And yes, people do call me Snow White, Lori.
But I love what you say. It's not about showing, oh, look how much money I'm making, and look how much weight I've lost. No, it's not about that. Balance and being healthy is not about that. I can assure you, I ran marathons. I did everything the doctors told me. And look, by 40, I was diagnosed with deformative arthritis all over my body. Look at, that's my elbow, man. What is it doing to my elbow? And then I can choose to go and cry to the corner, or I can choose, okay, to accept what I'm dealing with and do the best that I can and adapt with like life changes, diet changes. And I can assure you, what Starr is sharing, it's key. I am so glad that you're sharing these tips, because as much as I did this for so many years, you are giving us that feedback live. And I want to say, oh, there is Todd. Okay, I'm heading.
I'm not for a burger. I'm a little jealous.
I'm jealous.
Hamburger.
But he says he normally does gardening to relax. I do that too. I can, yes, absolutely, absolutely. And Kurt and Lori say I deliberate pull orders one at a time, so I have to walk from my office to my shed over and over. Wow, go! That's amazing. I cannot assure you, guys, if you're in a building, okay, please don't take the stairs. Literally, it's so, so, so important to be able to get that physical, not only mental, but that physical stimulation, and nothing like taking a good walk or a swim. Those are the two activities that I went from skiing, snowboarder, stand-up tennis, and marathon runner to walks on the beach and just swimming. But that's the thing, guys. We have a choice. We have a choice. And that's a beautiful thing, So if you're looking too much to the past, you're going to get depressed. If you look too much to the future, you're going to get anxious. Okay. But that's part of my job. I think that's the reason I accepted. Imagine, Starr, my job, guys, is to be 1 year ahead, to know what my reseller community is going to need in 1 year. Of course, I'm constantly thinking about the future. And that's how I accepted, okay, there is medication for it. I'm going to take it, because I need to think seriously about the future, what's best for our community. So that's a trade-off as a co-founder and a full-time seller. That's a trade-off that I did. Do you think you did a trade-off, Starr, when you left, your previous life and you became a reseller? Do you think you did a trade-off, something that you wish you would have from when you used to work for someone? I don't, but, there is people out there that like it.
I do. I was in healthcare for 30 years, and I took care of people, and I miss that connection. I miss helping people. I miss caring for people. I worked in nursing homes for most of my life, and the last 10 years I worked with adults with disabilities, and just to see someone tie their shoe after you taught them, or to get a job in the community if they were high functioning and be so proud of their paychecks. Like, I'm gonna get all upset, but I do really, really miss the connections and taking care of people. I miss that a lot. But that's probably part of why I started a YouTube channel and started teaching people, because in some way I'm still helping. It's not the same. Anyone that's ever worked in nursing or healthcare, you get attached, you fall in love, and there's nothing like that. There will never be anything like that. But now I'm my own boss, and I couldn't do that anymore because of my disability. So this, or like you said at the beginning, I don't want to take a disability check, and I still want to be in charge of my life and contribute to the community, make my own money. So I do what I do.
Yep. No, that label, I think, is like, I wish they would call it something else, because literally, it's like you feel like a label, and there is so much that we can do in order to be productive. But also, I want to remind our audience, we're going to be wrapping up this soon, not yet, but we're going to continue this topic about preventing burnout and stress awareness here at the listing party, where you can join us really fast. You can use the same password and user ID from List Perfectly. But definitely one of the things that I wanted to talk about is the reason I share listing parties, because one of the ways to reduce stress is to have an accountability buddy, and that's what listing party is. It's not about just chatting, and no, it's about working and having accountability. And I think that that's crucial for when you are in every sole entrepreneur or entrepreneur. If you're in a partnership, every entrepreneur does this in order to be successful, right?
Yep. You can apply that to anything in your life. I mean, I used to smoke, and until I announced it to the world that I was going to quit, I could be sneaky and not quit. I had to tell the world so people would hold me accountable to the
Yeah,
fact that I was going to quit smoking.
yeah.
And now I've been smoke free for 8 years.
Oh my goodness, congrats,
Yeah.
Star. You've been smoke free for what? I think 17 years.
Yeah,
So
and you have to make it very clear to people in your community. I'm going to quit smoking. I'm going to cut out caffeine. I'm going to list 10 items a day. I'm going
yeah,
to list my death pile before I source anymore. And once people have heard you say this out loud, it's
yeah.
real, and now you
Yep.
have to do it.
Absolutely, absolutely. And guys, I used to be a full-time reseller. I'll be honest, I don't miss law, okay? I don't miss banking at all, okay? I don't. I love you, Citi, Bank of America, Chase, JP Morgan, all the companies I work for, okay? But I don't miss it because I found our community, our reseller community, to be the best thing that could happen to me. The community that we have here as resellers is something that I couldn't find on different jobs. So for me, this has been, if anything, I miss reselling so much. But again, it makes me so happy to see so many like you guys being able to lean on our technology in our community in order to grow your business, grow personally, and above everything, find your path. Oh, Kurt and Lori are saying I was a legal secretary for 10 years. I do not. She nailed it. I do not mills. Oh, there is big egos in the lawyer community. Ooh, lawyers.
I
Oh
think
my.
if I hadn't have been in the field I was in, I wouldn't miss it at all, because the freedom of working from home
Yeah.
is, and I don't understand why Keith went, but everybody has different things. He likes
Respect.
his numbers. He likes crunching them numbers, and but for me, it's because of what I did and who I am. Like, I have so much empathy. I would get probably too attached and fall in love with the folks I took care of, but I
Yeah.
really do miss them.
Yeah,
But
no. And I'll be honest, I miss reselling it. Guys, I'm a reseller. I'm good, and especially I'm really freaking good as a reseller. But I understand, sometimes you gotta flow. And like I said, one concept that I'm gonna give you that I am adamant before we wrap this up, and please send your questions, but don't forget we're gonna go to listing party with Starr, and then she also has true crime and list. But I just want to share with you, okay, something that I always said, it has to flow. When I went to Los Angeles, 3 times a month, I have to go and do that trip that I told you, Star. 3 times a month, I have to do it because we were selling like approximately 300 items a month. Our sell-through rate was so fast, okay? It was so fast. It kept incrementing as you optimize more the listings. We kept selling faster and faster and faster and faster. So one of the things that I always say, please, it has to flow. And what do I mean with flowing? Like for example, Keith. Now he wasn't like literally. I can assure that I know Keith. He must have not been sending like day and night, resumes everywhere. It's just something that flows. And look at how Starr, even though we're both missing sometimes what we do, we just we were flowing into reselling. So I always say the path of least resistance in the reselling is not for everybody, but certainly you don't need to do it sometimes full time or part time. You can do it hobby, and those of you that is not enough to do it as a hobby, you can do it part time or full time. The choice is yours, but definitely make sure that things are flowing. Don't roll against the current. That's my biggest advice. Like, for example, coming to the US, I was like, hey, back in the day, it was called Immigrational Services. And I was like, hi, can I have a green card? 4 months later, I had it, so it was really easy. Nowadays, that's not possible.
No.
So, but again, I was ready to go with the flow. It's not that I was constantly trying and insisting. And that's important that you understand. Go with the flow. You can be persistent. You can be consistent, but understanding what's your destiny and going with the flow. Thank you. Yes, the thumbs up for me. That's my biggest piece of advice before we wrap it up. What would you say is a big tip that you would give to our audience to avoid the reseller burnout and stress? Starr,
My biggest tip of all time: routines and time management. Time blocking. Have set times for work and set times for yourself. Set time. And you can't just always be with your family either. You have to have time for yourself. You have to have hobbies. But that time management and having those routines and sections of your life, that's my biggest advice to everybody. Because if all you ever do is work, you're going to get burned out, and you're not going to be good for yourself, your family. You're just going to be a mean person. But if all you do is fiddle fart around, then you're not working enough. So you have to find the balance. You have to definitely be your own boss and hold yourself accountable and have a time clock, so to speak. So that's my best advice: routines.
Yeah, Tom in Seattle says, for the most part, coworkers always become like family because we spend 40 hours each week, year after year together. I do sort of miss that part. And that's why we're going to see you now at Listing Party. Come and join us and come and meet your coworkers. If you haven't tried Listing Party, join us now. We're going to wrap this up. We'll see you there. Thank you, Starr. Thank you, audience. Thank you, everybody, for this great time. And yes, let's avoid reseller burnout and stress awareness, and join us at Listing Party. Have a beautiful Easter and happy weekend. Thank you, Starr. See you soon.
Thanks for having me. Bye.